Hello, my name is Michael Berger, and I have an associate's degree in mechanical engineering and a bachelor's degree in digital science. I have a certificate in AutoCAD and cybersecurity. I worked as a student IT assistant at the University of Akron, a math tutor at Stark State College, SMT operator at Airborne Electronics, and as a student team leader at Kent State University in the fan-rated desktop support department.
And my name is Gregory Hess. I have a bachelor's degree in digital sciences from Kent State University. I have a Test-Down Security Pro certification, as well as numerous certifications through LinkedIn courses. I've held numerous IT positions in end-user support across Kent State, Beechwood Systems, and Northeast Ohio, and in my local area, in local town of Northeast Ohio, as I reside. And I'm en route to a rotational in Brooklyn, Ohio, this coming summer. As of February of 2023, I reside at a business analyst position in my current company in a bank in the Ohio area. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the TechIT podcast. We got a jam-packed, really good episode for you today, filled with a lot of stories, some follow-ups to some old stories here on the April 30th edition of the TechIT podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Gregory, here with my friend Mike. Before we get into the thick of it with all this great big stories that we got here before the end of April, Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing this week, Greg?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got a haircut and I'm consolidating things before I do an in-person work shift at the big office down in 25-30 miles away. So it's gonna be a hectic week, but probably a good one compared to how I usually do here as my business analyst duties here.
Yeah, all my weeks are pretty hectic. So I have some upcoming projects and some project proposals at my job. So I'm hoping that these proposals go through. It would really help because right now we're using the Windows 11. We're just getting a lot of bugs in the system. So hopefully I'm pushing through forward a proposal for re-imaging some of the machines we have there. So hopefully the people that need to sign off on it. But that's enough about our weeks. Let's go and dive into the tech news this week. We have a lot of juicy topics here.
Yeah, and we mentioned your proposals that you have to go through. And speaking of proposals and stuff being followed up upon those, it was a year ago we reported on the SEC being kind of a butthurt for using the derogatory word, to say the least, at crypto, because crypto is still untaxed, unregulated, and the government doesn't really know how it works, I think, still. After they did such a good job, in quotes, of trying to talk to TikTok, their CEO back in a few weeks back. So, after Coinbase saw SEC starting to knock on their door saying, hey, we don't know what you're doing, and I don't like it though, Coinbase fired back by saying, no you, I'm going to sue you now. So this is that finding here.
Here's the thing. Crypto is one of those very complicated sectors with a lot of potential. A lot of potential for earnings, but in all, its goals are very noble. Because at the end of the day, crypto was created, at least Bitcoin was created, to as kind of like a hedge against inflation. And it used to be that was gold was for. The problem with gold is heavy. You have to keep it probably locked up in your house somewhere. You know, someone can steal it. Not to say crypto can't get stolen. It's just easier to move your crypto around. Like, let's say you're going on vacation somewhere and you want to use crypto. I think they have like a crypto card out there now that you can just load up the card with a certain amount of crypto and use that So there's just a lot of potential out there, and especially during these times where I haven't been keeping up with a lot with inflation, but I know it's still pretty high.
I think it's like
Um,
9%.
yeah,
Last I checked.
it's quite high, and these are the times where you want to see it stabilize and be used for what it was created for. Um, so it's kind of hard to describe what it is because I think it's kind of its own thing. Um, so it's new and it's going to take a long time for them to figure that out. But a good rule of thumb for keeping especially keeping anything locked up in things like Coinbase or any of your crypto is you have to remember if it's not your keys and not your crypto. So anything you got on there is at risk. So it's important to use these exchanges for what they're made for, and that's exchanging your crypto. It's not a place to store crypto.
Oh yeah,
So
we've covered in the past about people stealing it by leaving it on the exchange platform itself instead of just putting it in their own storage platform itself. That is set apart from the exchange platform because the platform is good, but it's not great in terms of keeping things completely safe and secure. But to kind of put this all together here, it was just a month ago that the SEC confirmed the threats that they were making last year that I mentioned previously on here on the podcast about wanting to take down Coinbase because, again, they're not regulated and all that jazz. But now, Coinbase is considered, in quotes, a gold standard among crypto exchanges. Here on TechCrunch.com, you can find the story.
it's definitely good to have the exchanges out there, and especially if they're ones that you can trust. For anyone looking to get into the sector, or if you just want to get out of the sector and sell off all your crypto or anything like that, you want exchanges out there you can trust. Um, so it's good to see one of the exchanges kind of standing up for itself and saying, "Hey, look, this this is what we do when we're here to stay."
And this is all coincided with Coinbase filing a petition to compel the SEC to respond to a months-old petition to ask whether the securities regulator would allow the industry to be regulated under existing SEC frameworks, like regular currencies are, like the bills and the checks and the like. But they don't. They take these matters very seriously, as the co-founder and chief executive Brian Armstrong has put here, quote, Coinbase does not take any litigation lightly, especially when it relates to one of our regulators. Regulatory clarity is overdue for our industry, in his words. Yet Coinbase and other crypto companies are facing potential regulatory enforcement actions from the SEC, even though we have not been told how the SEC believes the law should be applied to our business. So he kind of outlines it right there. So I kind of want to just nip that in the bud in that point regarding where this goes, because it seems like a never-ending game of checkers between SEC and the crypto world. And Coinbase just did a double bounce over the SEC saying, what about that petition? I want to know what we could do, but you haven't told us how we can be regulated. So please tell us. Because this is someone, and I think he's in the minority here, of someone who says that regulatory clarity is overdue for the industry. Well, there are people in the crypto space that kind of don't want any regulation, which I get.
But to touch on that real quick, we do have to be careful with regulation when it comes to crypto because it kind of removes the freedom of it, and that's one of the biggest selling points on crypto is the freedom to move your money into wherever you need it. And then a lot of people are talking about having this decentralized currency where you can use it wherever it's a viable coin, it's a viable currency, no matter where you're at. And having a lot of regulation around that, where the government can kind of control it, kind of it's kind of just the opposite side of the coin. That's the opposite side of the spectrum. We don't want that if we want something that's um more free and able to use wherever, because there are countries that have systems like that in place where you can't take their money out of their banks and just go somewhere else. This is their currency.
Well, yeah, and the whole the freedom versus what can be controlled argument has been relayed on many different aspects of things, especially money, the economy world. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward. But let's jump into our next story here, going from the SEC to over the pond, over the UK, where that's bad. Over to the UK, where they actually blocked the acquisition deal of Microsoft of Activision due to cloud gaming concerns, also anti-competitive practices. One's greater than the other in terms of reasons to block this thing. So we covered this before, back when the attempt was trying to be made back in January of this year of this acquisition trying to happen. But the country of UK's antitrust regulators said on Wednesday that they blocked it over cloud gaming concerns. That Microsoft's commitment to offer access to Activision's multi-billion-dollar franchise of the shooting franchise Call of Duty to leading cloud gaming platforms will not effectively remedy its concerns, as well as cloud gaming kind of not being in the... So cloud gaming is not really taking off as it would with the collapse of Google Stadia and NVIDIA GeForce Now and Xbox Game Pass still not being utilized in the commercial field as well as the consoles of old from the 7th and 6th and 8th generations have taught us. As well as the company saying that we're going to reassess the growth plans for the UK, as well as bounce back from this, even though upon seeing this, Activision shares did fall 12% with this block. So, a lot of effects coming from this block, because this is the same competitive market agency that said that cloud gaming is supposed to be forecast to be worth £11 billion, or $13.7 billion United States.
They're looking
globally,
far in the future, if you ask me. That is
2026.
I don't think the technology is there yet.
It isn't.
If you think about like your home internet service, the amount of downtime you have and the lag, that you get sometimes, even if you're on land, you still get some lag, power outages. If you're gaming on a laptop and you're doing a cloud, you're gaming over the cloud, you're not using your own processor or whatever, that lag is going to be much worse. So I don't think the technology is there yet. I don't think the interest is there yet. There's something to be said about having your own gaming PC and just being able to unplug it from the internet and just be able to go play whatever. Like, I know when I have like an internet outage or whatever, I can go play games that you could play off the internet on my PC. So if you dial back your system and just do cloud gaming, then it might not support it. It might not support those offline games when your internet goes out.
Yeah, and coupled with the physical aspects that you mentioned, there is the anti-competitive aspect of this that I feel is starting to offset the cloud gaming being not as big as they thought it would be. Aspect where, granted, even in the situation that cloud gaming was good right now, this competitive marketing agency said Microsoft has an estimated 60 to 70% share of all the cloud global gaming services, which again includes Xbox, PC, Windows, and Azure. Microsoft Azure, which they would utilize for these cloud gaming. And personally, I would say Azure, I get its popularity, but in terms of share, that's a lot of share of
That
just
is.
what they can get. Because Microsoft, granted, counting those that I just said, they're also been trying to sign deals with Valve people who own Steam, as well as Nvidia, which they make processors and they have their own cloud gaming platform as well, and GeForce Now. So
I think this deal was smart. I think Microsoft was smart by buying it now, or trying to buy it now, because I think one day it might be viable. Like it might be a viable option, but as of right now, um, I think it's far off in the future. So they're thinking ahead, which is good. It's kind of sad they got denied because I want to see this. I want to see cloud gaming make. I think it's good for the competitiveness of the space. I think it's good um for advancing technology to see what we can do with it. There's a lot of positives to pushing cloud gaming forward.
well, yeah, it could
I
help
just
like
don't think
those
we're
that
there
can't
yet.
afford rigs and buying a
Yeah,
console every year. But
exactly.
maybe they could have used this foresight when making Windows 11. But speaking of foresight about things, moving on from one big tech company to another, we'll keep posted on the deal of Microsoft Activision, of course. But speaking of big tech, going over from Microsoft to Google products, we have a piece here on TheVerge.com regarding a piece that hits me close to home for me and Mike, as we were some of the people that would work on these Chromebooks that would have to go to these schools. And this is a piece on TheVerge.com for those who want to follow again. And it cites about how the U.S. Public Interest Research Group Education Fund, it's a long one, has found that Google's been cheaping out on some Chromebooks they've been giving to kids during the pandemic, where they estimated that if they only doubled the lifespan of Chromebooks, they could have resulted in $1.8 billion in savings for taxpayers. Also creating this like splurge of these Chromebooks breaking creates a lot of e-waste, as they call it, or e-waste is essentially throwing out laptops, smartphones, and mid towers when they're broken and you can't fix them.
So you've worked on these Chromebooks before. I remember back when I worked in IT, I would repair these. This was part of my job, is to go in and repair these Chromebooks, whether it be software, hardware, or user error. That was my job. And I did notice that they were definitely not the best of quality when it came to just longevity. Like their parts would wear out quickly, and I'd have to go back in and Frankenstein some old ones together. um but yeah, I think the Chromebook, especially the OS, it's a very light OS.
It's a very light device, which is probably one of the problems.
That too, yeah,
'Cause
that is one of the problems.
They coincide with this coming in. They coincide that with how Chromebooks are kind of the problem with this whole thing is the word, in one word, repairability. As it's hard to get parts essentially for these things. They're specialized. Like you can't get an Asus part to fix a Chromebook part. So not only does it have to be specialized for Chromebooks, but it's for elements like screens, hinges, and keyboards that are vulnerable to the, let's say, environment of schools.
I hear you.
Compared to like an office.
We worked with college students. I can't imagine how worse for where these laptops would be for the younger generation. I know when I was younger, my devices were quite, I would say, abused is probably the best word for it.
Yeah.
I know my first cell phone was a tank. I think I had like a Nokia or something. And no, I had a flip phone. I forget what brand it was, but it was a tank. I swear I dropped that thing so many times and it never cracked. It had a lot of scratches on the outside, but it was built like a tank. But nowadays you drop your phone and it shatters or whatever if you don't have like this level 9 case. And that, I feel like that's how these Chromebooks are built. They're built like the new cell phones, and they're ready to break. they're definitely ready to break. So, I think we need to take a step back and look at these something that's a little bit more hardy for students.
Yeah, because years back when you and I were just getting out of high school going to college, schools looked at this as a cost-saving strategy, buying Chromebooks instead of having computer labs and upkeeping them with new mid-towers. So, on paper, this was the solution. So, ironically, they're saying it isn't, with researchers saying that replacement keyboards for Acer Chromebooks were not only out of stock online, but they found some sold on third-party websites, or websites where you just put a picture of it on and you try to get it from a random person, where a replacement keyboard for a Chromebook would be $89.99 or more, which is nearly half the cost of a regular Chromebook, which would be about $200 to just get a new one. So imagine being a school and having to replace a bunch of that, spending $200+ for one Chromebook, but not just one, whole carts of them for your whole school, and having to replace them every year because these things are break.
Yeah,
As well as
definitely
the
has a
concern about the auto update expiration date, which people have been complaining about that also, where they're thinking about stopping updates on these Chromebooks. Which, that's a problem in and of itself when you can't even get updates for the thing. And you're supposed to use it for school, and school data is sitting on that right there.
that is terrible. Like I can't even imagine having something we need on like a Chromebook or well, imagine it's like a big report and you do an update and they're like, oh, you need to do some kind of update or some kind of code for this OS. That'd be terrible. Actually, isn't the Chrome OSs? I'm pretty sure they're free, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
I think the
I
Chrome
know
updates
Android
are
is. You can
Chrome
mess with
updates are
Android for
pretty
free.
free. I read an article the other day about how had a huge savings just by switching all their laptops to Chrome OS just because it was free. So like if these were Windows machines, then I would be more worried. And I think Mac is free as far as I know right now.
I don't know that one right now for myself.
I think updates are. At least last
Well,
I heard, it's been a while.
what
Anyway,
would be interesting.
enough speculation about what's free and what's not free. People can do their own research on that. Let's jump into our next topic because we are slow as a snail today. But we have so many juicy topics; it's not hard to go in depth about them.
Yeah,
Uh,
so from one cloud provider to another cloud provider, Tencent Cloud is reportedly offering a deepfake creation tool at $145. And like we covered in previous episodes of the podcast, deepfakes are technically only outlawed by copyright use only. Let me say that again. Only copyright use. They're banned in 4 states. The Carolinas, Virginia, and I think Texas. Only 4, from what I've last checked. That's what we covered, I think, 3 months back on the podcast. But this service that Tencent, the people that own your kid's favorite game, Fortnite, as well as Epic Games, as well as their link to TikTok and everything, their cloud has a deepfake creation service that can analyze and train itself on 3-minute videos and 100 voice clips to produce convincing deepfake video within 24 hours, selling at again $145, which people in the field, such as your boy Elon Musk, warned against deepfake problems in the past, but this one you can just buy. This one you can just buy.
this is scary. Like I I think we're gonna have a huge problem with
Authenticity.
exactly. You're having we have to being able to determine what is real and what's not real. Because there's all this AI and all this technology coming out, and when you go to the internet, you want to find the truth most of the time. Most of the time, you're not looking for these deepfakes. You're looking for the truth.
Yeah.
I know putting together podcasts, I've come across some things that were sketchy, and I had to back check and double check and make sure I was giving out the right information. Um, but this could cause serious problems in a lot of industries. I don't see at any point where deepfakes could be helping anyone. So I don't know why they would even make this.
They said they intend to use the service for hosting live streamed infomercials for the Chinese demographic, which take that with a nice 400-gallon tub of salt.
So yeah.
With what I've seen with Tencent do, as a representative named Jianmin report reveals that other applications of deepfakes have included in the past may include representing doctors, lawyers, and other professionals, which that is also scary. With also other tech giants like Huawei and Baidu have started developing their own versions of generative AI tools to rival that of ChatGPT, which we'll cover later on. But they kind of nip this in the bud. Again, that is scary, but also I find it low-key funny seeing that Elon Musk has said no to it, while his former wife, Grimes, said, "You can't deepfake my music." So
But she said you can or can't.
You can. She
Like
wants
deepfake
you to
is
make.
free publicity for her. Why not?
She wants deepfakes of her music, which, granted, her music's not particularly great to my taste, but it's a little trouble in the house of the two people. But yeah, we're gonna keep a look at this going forward with the rest of our coverage, as well as other stuff like one of our spotlight videos that Mike found regarding for those of you that like upgrading computers and building computers.
Yeah,
we have a spotlight video here.
This is another Linus Tech Tip videos. I know I talk about his channel a lot, but I love his channel. They do a lot of really cool stuff. And they talk, well, this video is titled "The God of Computer Coolers," and they take a 5,000-watt industrial cooler.
5,000. Mm-hmm.
And this is used to cool like lasers, like to keep it within 1% temperature of. There's a 1% or within 1 degree. I can't remember, but
1 degree.
It's 1 degree. Okay, yeah, they keep it within 1 degree of the temperature they need, and they're using this on an i9 13900K CPU. Because this is one of the CPUs that has a lot of issues with overheating and thermal throttling and all kinds of nasty stuff. And they've built all kinds of different builds to try and cool this thing. And they're like, this video is literally all about cooling it, and they open up the cooler and go through all the parts. It's really fun. So if you guys get a chance, go check that out. Even if you're not interested in computer cooling, it's still very interesting to watch.
Yeah, and then some. As a novice computer builder myself, it's really something to get into when you see the energy in this video for like the community that is building parts. But from one video to another video spotlight, we have the coverage of ChatGPT, which we can probably cover in a one-off episode down the line.
We're gonna have a full episode of ChatGPT
of this tool alone, or even us maybe even demoing it live on the podcast. Who knows?
That might be fun. I like that. We could do like a whole bunch of AI comparisons.
A whole podcast written by ChatGPT.
Maybe. I said there like a bunch of other competitors to ChatGPT.
There's Bard.
Like, there's Bing. Bard.
Bing.
There's
Tencent's making one.
There's a bunch of them, but we should look into that and see if we can have an episode like that. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, but
yeah, let's go to this topic real quick. So there's this YouTube video. It's called it's by Kyle Hill. He's one of my favorites to watch. He's talks a lot about tech and science and all that. And it's the huge problem with ChatGPT, and he basically goes in depth on how ChatGPT is not perfect and how it was bested in a very simple game so I think they said it was by someone that wasn't really experienced in the game, right? Or
Yeah.
was it a strategy that wasn't
It
wasn't
was an
common or something?
uncanny strategy
It
and
was an uncanny strategy. So I think
unorthodox.
yeah, exactly. That's a better word. And I thought it was just interesting to bring this up because um, it's just proving how ChatGPT is not perfect yet. And I know a lot of people have already said this, and but it still needs a lot of work to get to um, the next level to where it doesn't have any flaws. So I think that he's talking a lot about slowing down and taking a second look at ChatGPT and how it works, and really you think about where we go from there.
Because there's been cited problems with it, such as not having all the information, as well as bias, as well as people being able to gaslight it into thinking like one thing's right over another thing, which that is something I don't know how you fix. But moving forward with ChatGPT, we have a company, rather country, excuse me, that is taking it back in after it was previously reported months back that they kind of didn't like it. So the country of Italy, everyone's favorite provider of culture, and frankly,
And this is a follow up, right? Because we covered the story where they banned it.
yeah. So this is a recent entry into this, as this was covered just yesterday. But
And they
they've
just,
technically brought back.
yeah, so they looked into the concerns and found a way to make sure that there wasn't getting the wrong information out there. I think there was like a concern between about I think it was consent of parents,
Yeah,
and I think
age.
people under like minors were using it for reasons they didn't want them to use it for, or they were using it to pirate some information or something like that.
Yeah, which I see them trying to fix here in the bottom half of the article here on hackernews.com, where OpenAI, the company that makes ChatGPT, is trying to implement a more robust age verification system. Please make it better than a pop-up. Please make it
well,
better than a pop-up.
well, here's the thing. That's an interesting topic. I think we've covered something like this before, where there was people were it was a website that said you had to verify your age via your ID.
Yeah.
Well, what's to stop you from going and stealing someone's ID or something like that?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's good that to see that they're taking measures to protect people, though.
Yeah, the concern's there, but I'm wondering if this will like come on a global scale or they'll just put this in like Europe. Because they're the ones that are actually angry about this compared to here in America where we're only angry about it when it can get us some votes.
Yeah,
Like, that's all I hate. I hate how we deal with tech issues here. Not to go on a tangent for a second, but they really don't know how to handle like privacy issues regarding
I
tech.
agree.
They really don't.
We need to write our congressman and be like, hey, can we do what they're doing?
Hey, can I have your job?
Can I have your job?
Can I have your job? Because your job used to be voluntarily.
I like
It
it.
used to be volunteer
I'd vote
efforts.
for you, Greg.
Damn right. Sorry. Apologies about that, but moving
Anyways,
on from more security matters, from something that could be a security concern to a security matter that happened. Let's
yeah.
transition
So
over to Atomic.
Atomic and a new Atomic Mac OS malware steals keychain passwords and crypto wallets. So this is a type of malware, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
that goes into its focuses on Mac OS,
Yeah,
and
Apple devices.
it's seen as um just a form of like free software. So like it's seen as either like Photoshop or a Tor browser of some sort. So
Well,
these are like
yeah,
things that people would be looking for free on the internet. That's actually malware. and they install the software, and it goes through, gathers your data, packages it up in a nice bow, and sends it over to people. And then they just kind of go through it and they're like, oh, here's a password to their bank account. Here's a password to the crypto, or, So definitely something to keep an eye out for. Uh, yeah, definitely, especially if you're a Mac user, keep an eye out for things that seem free but are actually malware.
Yeah, check the sender from where you got the email from. If it's from an email or a text, or just how you even find it. Always make sure to look up what is actually the real receivers of things if you get emailed stuff like this, as well as always keep your Apple devices up to date. That's how you can stop things like this as well. But moving forward from there, we have...
And always download things from trusted sites.
Or untrusted sites. Gotta make sure that certificate is up to date and the connection secure. But speaking of secure,
so
there's
our
a bunch
next
of stuff
one,
that wasn't there was a bunch of devices that weren't secured. And this last piece we have here.
So this is CryptoBot. This article, Google gets a court order to take down CryptoBot that infected over 670,000 computers
last year.
Yeah, back in March of 2022.
It was under the goal of stealing sensitive data like authentication credentials, social media logins, crypto wallets as well from users of the browser Google Chrome.
Mm-hmm. And the way they distributed this is like most other things. It's malware, so it was put on pirated sites or compromised pirate sites that allow people to download cracked versions of software and video games. So they're taking actions to stop this. So what they're trying to do is CryptoBot's trying to make this a worldwide crime enterprise, and it's out of Pakistan.
It's juxtaposed that it's likely out of a worldwide.
It's suspected that it's a worldwide criminal enterprise out of Pakistan. And Google got this court order to get it taken down, granted by a federal judge in the Southern District of New York, to take down the current and future domains that are tied to the distribution of CryptoBot. So they're saying that this just kneecaps spread of new infections, so that's good. Just be careful when you're downloading things from sketchy sites. Make sure you're not downloading anything from sites that are compromised, or like, especially if it's like phishing email or something like that. You want to make sure that's the correct domain. Sometimes they just change that one letter in that domain, and it's the wrong site, and you're downloading the wrong thing, and it's infected.
As well as just make sure when you Google something, also, for instance, on Chrome, like I can do this right now. Like if I do a search on Google for AT&T, there is a sponsored result. Don't click on the sponsored result. Sometimes hackers will buy those and put the correct website there. So you click on it instead of the real one, which isn't sponsored. I ruined this just last month. But please don't click on those. That's one of the ways that malware can also get into your system as well, if you go into a fake sponsored site. Because hackers, granted, have money also, like some of us. So they can promote a fake version of a website, be it AT&T, for even something as simple as YouTube. You can make a
That's interesting, because I did not know that. I would assume Google would go through and verify those,
Yeah, no. If it's sponsored, Google's still getting money. So...
Well, that's definitely some good information there.
But we'll keep you posted on more security matters as well that we find that could impact the grand scale of things. But just as we say with other things, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Well, not subscribe. Excuse me. follow us on the SoundCloud.
They
Yeah.
can always subscribe on YouTube.
Oh yeah, you can subscribe on YouTube. We have a
Because
YouTube channel.
we have the YouTube and the Buzzsprout as well, so they can like subscribe, follow, ring the bell, all this good stuff, all the socials.
Rate us. No, you
Need to
can't rate
rate.
on those sites. But yeah, we have a Patreon, so if you want to look at those, feel free to reach out to us or comment, and we can send you the Patreon link if you're interested in supporting what we do here. Thank you for listening to us again, and stay vigilant, everyone.
Stay vigilant.